That is the most important person you need on your renovation or flipping team pretty much at all, especially if you want to do flips. Contractor is most important. Find a good crew and keep them busy. My guys work for me full-time when we start the job. So Monday to Friday, they're on my job. There's zero job hopping. I pay my crew $40 an hour. Everybody gets paid $40 an hour. For the carpenters, the electricians, and the plumbers, well, you know them, okay? They're getting $70 an hour. I'm posting ads saying like, I'm a real estate investor in Kitchener. You know, I flip 3 houses a month. I'm looking for a good crew. I'm gonna keep it busy as much as I can. It's like 80% of people who contact me are a great fit, which is surprising. Put it in writing, use your gut to like feel out people and just stay on top of them.
Contractors. Depending upon your experience as a real estate investor, that may be a curse word or it may be a prayer for salvation. Contractors are one of the key people in our business, and it's critical that we build real relationships with our contractors because they are one of our key service providers. In today's video, I sit down with Mat Piche and we discuss exactly how you should be building your relationship and even how you should be compensating your contractors when it comes to building your real estate empire. If you didn't realize this about Mat, he originally started as a contractor, then became a realtor, and then finally a real estate investor throughout that entire period, but has kind of transitioned full-time into being a real estate investor now and a social media influencer. So Matt's been there, done that, got the t-shirt in regards to being a contractor, working with shitty contractors, and then building a team of amazing contractors. And that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and I'm joined again by Mat Piche, the Fruitful investor. Hey Matt, how's it going?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to talk with you today just about renovations and trying to build a team and a scalable solution for renovations, because one of the biggest limiting beliefs I come across all the time when I'm talking to new investors is just this fear of hiring the wrong contractor, or this fear of getting into like the renovation project from hell where the budget balloons 3 times what the original estimate was. And I think a lot of people sit on the sidelines for years and years struggling with this mental battle, and they don't even know how to try and solve it for themselves or how to try and take control of the situation. Can you save them? Can you kind of give them some guidance here?
I got lots of tips, man. I've been through this for like 10 years. I know all the pitfalls and we solved them all. Yeah. So like you said, the biggest one is the contractor. I'll start with that one right away.
Yeah.
That is the most important person you need on your renovation or flipping team pretty much at all, especially if you want to do flips. Contractor is most important, because they can easily derail the whole project. They can bankrupt you. Like anything can go wrong. It's going to be the contractors. So making sure they have a good team. The ways I do that is using my gut, which sounds kind of lame, but honestly, the only times I've gotten screwed by contractors is when I met with them and I was like, I don't know about this guy. Something's weird about him. I was like, okay, I'm too busy. I need this job done. That's when I got screwed or taken advantage of, was that. So the best place to find people I found is ask your network, see who's used who, because you have like a proven track record, at least with people that you know who said like, yeah, this guy's good, this crew is good. And then the second thing I like to try and do is keep them busy. So we're doing like anywhere between 2 to 4 flips a month. So like I keep my crew busy all year. They're pretty much my guys. They work for me full time, essentially, because I keep them so busy. So when I meet someone, I tell them like, yeah, if you work for me, this is my level of expectation, etc. But I'm going to keep you busy like all year. Like you don't even need to market for yourself, find clients, do all that. I'm your guy the whole year. So because of that, I get better deals, I get better prices, but I also get better workmanship and better trust, because we become team members now instead of just like I'm the boss. We become like a crew. That's kind of the best thing I can say. Find a good crew and keep them busy.
Yeah. And so for someone that's maybe a little bit earlier in the journey where they can't necessarily keep that crew full time, any thoughts on kind of how to navigate that? Like, should we be teaming up with other investors and try and keep that one crew busy, or do you mind just kind of spitballing there?
Yeah, it's a great idea. I mean, I don't know the exact answer. Those are some great ideas. You know, do like teamwork where, yeah, like one investor that uses them for this month, use it for next month. And you're letting them know, like, if you work for our team, we're going to try to keep you busy all year. But at least just have that intent with them. Even if you're not going to be busy all the time, just tell them, like, I'm planning to buy like a house a month. I'm hoping to keep you busy a long time. So just, you know, work well with me, treat me right, give me good prices. Yeah, that's a great strategy. I guess the other thing to weed out the bad contractors, most importantly, is my guys work for me full-time when we start the job. So Monday to Friday, they're on my job. There's zero job hopping. And that's where you get screwed the most. Because if a contractor is going to be there for 2 days, go there for 3 days, come back for 2 days, go away for 3, that's the worst thing to do. It keeps your jobs running way too long. And it also lets you know that they're not in control of their business. They're kind of scattered. The last thing you want is a scattered contractor. So when they start to work for me, I say, this is my expectation. When I start a job, you're on it full-time, Monday to Friday. You do not leave for 1 day. If you do, you're fired. That's straight up like how I do with my contractors. And if people say, well, I can't commit to that, cool, leave. I'll find the next guy that will commit to that. And when they do, I'm going to keep them busy all year, right? So that's kind of another trick is to weed out the bad guys. Can you work full-time when we start the job? If you're going to job hop, then you're not my crew.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I think it's really important when you can get that full-time committed individual, right? Rather than, say, finding the weekend warrior for $18 an hour off of Kijiji.
Totally. And like that's how we flip houses in like 30 days. Like boom, boom, boom. Because they're there all the time. Like the job's getting done. It's so quick. And yeah, that's the best way to do it, I think.
And do you mind talking a little bit about this? A lot of investors, when they first start looking at their renovation budgets, they're always trying to squeeze the labor costs because they want savings, right? They're trying to come in under budget, or maybe they forgot to budget for something.
Yeah.
But I think far too often we forget about the delay costs and the unprofessional costs. And all those costs really add up, right? So you might be saving on a per hour basis from just labor input costs. But if all of a sudden your project takes twice as long, there's a lot of extra costs associated with that, right?
100%. Yeah. People don't think about that. There's like the silent cost that catch you on the end when you sell the property. And you're like, I spent what on financing because it took me 6 months to do it, right? So yeah, so pay your guys well. I used to go for the $20, $25 an hour guys. I've been there. Doesn't work. I pay my crew $40 an hour. Everybody gets paid $40 an hour. For the carpenters, the electricians, and the plumbers, well, you know them, okay? They're getting $70 an hour. But the carpenters are your main crew. That's the solid crew who does the paint, flooring, drywall, mudding, taping, baseboards, doors. That's your main crew. I pay them $40 an hour, which is way above, I think, market rate. And then again, if the carpenter is like, oh yeah, it's going to be $60 an hour. Okay, well, then again, you're dealing with a con artist, just a more professional con artist. So we want that $40 an hour range. That's what I think is a good, solid rate. Again, I'm paying you pretty much full time. That's a great rate, man, especially for a carpenter. So pay more, get better quality, finish your jobs quicker, make more money on the flips. Most importantly, stay sane. Right? Like right now, I got like 4 or 5 jobs on the go right now. I don't have to babysit anybody. Everything's good. They're professional. They know me. I know their workmanship. I don't have to worry about nothing. I'm here with you talking here. We're traveling, not right now, but in other times, I got 4 or 5 properties on the go at the same time. I don't have to worry about anything. Everything's getting done the way it should be.
So where should we look to find these good contractors?
Yeah, like the way I found them was just Craigslist, stuff like that. That's where and it works. Like you're going to find a lot of crappy people on Craigslist.
So are you posting ads or are you looking at ads posted?
I'm posting ads saying like, I'm a real estate investor in Kitchener. I flip 3 houses a month. I'm looking for a good crew. I'm going to keep it busy as much as I can, et cetera, et cetera. And then people contact me and then I interview them. And it's like 80% of people who contact me are a great fit, which is surprising. You think you get a lot more crappy people, but when you're filtering the ad right there, right? You're saying, this is what I do. This is what I expect from you. So the shitty con artists are going to read it and be like, oh, this guy's too pro. I can't fool him. I'm not even going to respond to his ad. But the real people will respond. And that's kind of what I've done. And then again, the gut feel. Once I see them, I see their work. I ask for pictures of their last jobs, etc. And I can tell right away when someone's crappy. I've seen enough bad contractors to know when this isn't going to work out really well.
Any tips on how to kind of try and get those bad contractors to filter out through your Kijiji or Craigslist post?
Yeah, like just filtering in your ad saying what you do and what you expect. When you put all that in there, the sleazy con artists aren't even going to bother because they know this guy is going to be too hard to like screw over. So I'm not even going to bother working with him. So when you say, this is what I want, you're going to get paid $40 an hour. You're going to work this much. No job hopping. Like I say all that in the ad.
Oh, nice.
When I was looking for something, again, people are like, oh, I can't do that. I can't commit to that. Good. Get out of here. I only want one person. I don't need 50 people to comment. I only need one to respond who's a great fit, right? And the next way would just be asking your network, which is probably the better way, is who's used what, who's used what contractor, and then work that way.
Yeah. And so once you, let's say you've had a contractor apply, you're about to hop on the phone with them. How would you take that first conversation? What sort of questions are you going to ask? What sort of information are you looking for?
Yeah. Basically, I ask is like, how long have you been in the business? What kind of renovation work can you do? When it comes to the contractor, the main carpenter crew, I need them to do like almost everything. So a lot of times, for example, contractors won't do mudding and taping. They'll do everything else except for the mudding and taping, and they got to hire that part out. That's annoying. I want you to do everything almost. Paint, flooring, trim, doors, mudding, taping, drywall, baseboards. I don't know if I said that already. Like everything. I need you to do almost everything. Tiling, because I want one crew. I want this simple system, and I want to keep you busy longer, right? So I want to give you a job. The job is yours. Own it. Contractors take pride in their work if you find the right one. So they want to see the job start from finish to end. They get happy about that process, right? So, for example, like my crew, I have the main carpenters, the plumbers, electricians, and HVAC. That's my main 4 crews. That's like my main thing. And then a couple little offshoots. I got the roofers sometimes. I got the window guys sometimes. But the main crew are those 4 people. It's like you only need 4 crews really to do most renovations. So you want to avoid having like 30 guys coming in, because I have a tile guy. I have a mudding and taping guy. I have a drywall guy. Like that's just annoying, right? Like it's all about being quick and simple. I don't have time to manage all these people. Simple.
Yeah, I love it. So if you're talking to a contractor and they say they can start next Monday, any red flags with that?
For sure, yeah. Quite a bit of red flag. They have to be a little bit busy. At the same time, I need them available. So it's kind of a fine line. Yeah, if they say, I can't work for you until August, and it's like March. Okay, well, next, right? But yeah, you're looking for that fine line. Yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts? Like, what would be a turnaround time where you'd feel comfortable? Like, is it like they're booked out a month? They're booked out a couple months?
Like 2 or 3, 2 weeks to 4 weeks. If they tell me that, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Got you.
Because you want them to be like invested in you and make time, because you want them to want to work for you. So if you say like, I got a flip coming up and a lot more coming up after that, and they say, I can't work for you until August, I'm so busy, then they're the wrong person. You want them to be like, I gotta fit this person into my schedule because they're going to be a great client. So, yeah.
So time plus materials or flat quote, or is there another option out there?
Those are the big one for me. So my contractors, my main crew, they only charge me labor only. So they're going to give me a quote for the whole job. However, they're going to base it on how many hours it's going to take, labor hours. For example, if I go into a house and I know it's going to take a month with 2 guys for this townhome flip, it's going to be $40 an hour times 40 hours a week times 2 guys times 4 weeks. That's the quote. So that's how I reverse engineer. So like I usually let my guys go through the house. I know what the number is going to be because I've done enough of these. I know what it should cost, but they're going to go through. They're going to give me a quote. Matt, it's going to cost $30,000 in labor. No problem. I'll go back to my desk. Okay, I know it's going to take them a month for 2 guys. I'm going to reverse engineer the quote. What should it be? Let's say it was 30 grand and my number comes out at 25,600. I'm going to go back and like, guys, like I ran the numbers, like it should only be 25,600. Would you agree to 26,500 just to make it easy, right? So like that's how I kind of reverse engineer. I let them go through, give me the quote labor only, and then I reverse engineer. And the reason why I do labor only is because a lot of contractors will sneak material in and make profit that way. I don't want that. I'm a flipper. I need to make every dollar I can make fairly. So I buy all the materials, everything, flooring, paint, trim, doors, everything, and I get it dropped off at the house. Super easy. I order most of my stuff off Amazon, Wayfair, Home Depot. You can get all my products in my renovation course. I order everything online, get it dropped off to the house. So there's no reason why you should be quoting on materials. I'll get that for you. I only want your labor quote. So it's honest. Because if they give me a quote like, Matt, this whole flip is going to cost $60K. Well, I don't really know how much is labor, how much is material. Are they overcharging me on material? I don't know. It just sounds like one big round number. So when I get the labor only and then I do the materials, it's the leanest way, it's the cheapest way it could be.
Cashflow Tribe.
I am a real estate agent. I've been an agent for 2 years. I've been an investor for 5 or 6 years. I can talk real estate all day, and I do. and it bores my friends. They're in that mindset where it's like, oh, well, you'll never be successful.
I already own a few properties, but these guys weren't like just trying to sell you a dream. It's like they're investing in you, and you want you to invest in yourself too. So I saw that, so I decided to come at the boot camp and see what it's all about, and I'm glad I did. And I think Cashflow Tribe opens you up to a lot more possibilities, and I want other people just to even see it, right? So they can believe it for themselves.
I just want to learn from people who are already doing it. Instead of trying to learn on my own, why not come to the people who are doing it and are successful at it?
I have 4 houses, cash flowing right now. When you have the connection with the people that doing the same thing as you are, it's just extremely powerful. Even if you think that you know everything about real estate, you don't. You know, like meeting new people, like you always hear different stories. And you know, like having 15, 20, 30 people with different mindsets. They have different experiences, you know, like that's so powerful. And meeting this people, like for me, it's priceless. It's priceless.
Fair, Home Depot, you can get all my products in my renovation course. I order everything online. Get it dropped off to the house, so there's no reason why you should be quoting on materials. I'll get that for you. I only want your labor quote, so it's honest. Because if they give me a quote like, oh yeah, Matt, this whole flip is going to cost $60K, well, I don't really know how much is labor, how much is material. Are they overcharging me on material? I don't know. It just sounds like one big round number. So when I get the labor only and then I do the materials, it's the leanest way, it's the cheapest way it could be, right? So that's why I do all my projects, everything.
Awesome. Yeah, really appreciate that. So when you're looking at their quote for time, how detailed should that quote be? And do you set the expectation on the front end, or is it just if they don't give you enough detail, then you push back?
Yeah, so it's kind of on the front end. I tell them like how I work, like that whole conversation. They'll pretty much, I'll tell them that this is what I'm going to do. After you give me your price, this is what I'm going to do. And we're going to see if we're at the same spot. So they know going into it what I expect. But the quotes used to be detailed when I first start working with a contractor, you know, it's going to take this much hours on the flooring, this much hours on the drywall. Now that we have the crew and they're pretty much like family kind of, they're like part of the team. They just go in and we'll agree on a price and they'll just send me a quote saying the whole job is $30,000. Like that's it. It's just one line. That's all I need for the book records, right? But yeah, when you're starting off with a contractor, you want to be as detailed as possible just to see like where the time is being allocated.
Yeah, that's great. So you've got a lot of experience when it comes to renovations and estimating how long that labor should take.
Yeah.
Any rules of thumbs or tips that you could share with audience members that are maybe newer to this game?
Fortunately, there isn't really, not that I found. There's no like magic formula, like, you know, flooring takes X amount of times. It is straight up experience. Like you're going to get burned a little bit on your first couple projects. Just chalk that up as learning, as coaching. You know, that's how it is. You're paying for learning. So yeah, they might take you for a ride a little bit. They might charge you a little more than it should have been. But on the 3rd, 4th, 5th project of your record, you're going to know like, hey man, like the last project, the guy did the flooring on the main floor in like 2 days. This guy took like 5 days. So, you know, like you'll know eventually what's what, but there's no magic answer. Unfortunately, it's just all experience. Or if you team up with your expert realtors or your expert investors on your team, they're going to tell you this flip should take a month. And then you can go in and kind of get your coaching that way. Like, okay, it should only be a month, and then do your numbers that way.
Yeah, that's great. So obviously your process is going to look a little bit different now because you're experienced and you've got this strong relationship with an existing contractor. If you were brand new or you were talking to a brand new investor, how many quotes do you think they should be getting? Yeah,
so that's again, like kind of like depends. I guess if you're starting off and you don't have a solid crew, the standard industry standard is like 2 or 3. So you can kind of pick like the one in the middle maybe, or like, you know, trying to bring them all to the similar price range. For me at this point, now that I have the crew, it's just, I only get one, which is the crew. And it's basically like, I'm the quote. This is how much I'm going to pay you for this. And then they agree or not. That's pretty much it. But yeah, when you're starting off, I guess get as many as you can. 2 or 3 is probably good. And then you can see, you'll learn a lot from that as well, to see like, why is this one so much higher? Why is this one so much less? And then you can kind of see, okay, well, the guy who did the lower one is pretty sketchy. I have a weird gut feeling about him, The one, the really high one is professional, has a nice truck. He seems more professional, you know what I mean? So you'll learn a lot that way as well. But again, no solid answer, but just kind of do what you have to do at the beginning to learn and build your business. Eventually, it'll just become clockwork in your mind.
Yeah, that's great. And so any other just general tips that you come to mind when it comes to dealing with contractors? I know, for example, a few tips that I've heard from other investors are things like, you know, when you're vetting them, try and go check out one of their existing job sites or work sites because you can learn a lot by that, as well as like check out the inside of their pickup truck, right? Like if it's completely covered in stuff, or if they drive like a little coupe car, that's maybe a sign that they're not like a big professional contractor. Are you checking for things like making sure they've got insurance and WSIB, things of that nature?
Yeah, 100%. So we make sure they have all that figured out. And then I'm looking at past jobs for pictures. Obviously, they can fake those a little bit. So yeah, going to an actual physical job site would be ideal. And then if you get them to start on your job, I usually check in on them like almost every day for the first week or two that I ever start working with them to see if they're actually there when they said they're going to be there, like I said, every day. And then I can see the job progression. You know, if their drywall work is like haggard, it's not like I'll know within the first 2 days, like this guy is not good, right? So it's staying on them every day for the first week or two, and putting that expectation that like I'm coming every day. And then again, if they're not real, they're gonna leave. Like screw this guy, he's too intense. Good, get out of here. The ones who stick around are gonna be the good ones who are gonna be loyal, right?
Yeah. So what should we do if we start finding a project starting to drift off course? Like, how do you try and pull it back in?
Yeah, so it's just telling them like, hey, like we had an agreement. This is how I do my flips. If you want tons of work coming up, that's usually the big one for them. If you want tons of work, this is what I expect. Like no job hopping. So it's just bringing it back to the expectation. You promised me this. You're not doing this. If you don't follow through, I'm gonna fire you because I got tons of people lining up behind you. Trust me. Like we're flipping tons of houses. I don't need you, bro. You need me. So just being super stern. And the tradesmen need to be talked to that way. Like that's straight up. Like you're the boss. This is how it is. Like you work for me. You know, like you need me way more than I need you. So setting that tone and that expectation with them is what you need. And a lot of people are going to be weird about that, especially if they're like 22, telling a 45-year-old what to do. I've been there, man. I'm still doing it. It's weird. Doesn't matter. I'm the boss. This is my business. So like just being tough.
Yeah, and I'm guessing to hold someone accountable, it's really important to get and document everything in writing.
100%, yeah.
So do you have like a specific, like I know you mentioned now you're not very detail oriented with your quote because you've built this really strong relationship with your contractors. If you were starting a new relationship with a set of contractors, can you just share with us kind of the level of detail? Like let's say you're flipping an entire house. You kind of mentioned like, are they breaking out flooring, the kitchen, the tiling? What does that look like?
Yeah, so especially if you're starting off, getting that breakdown of every single segment would be good. Even for me at this point, when I get a new crew, I just want the overall price and listed of what you're gonna do. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Because I know like it's gonna take you a month. So I don't need you to break down 6 hours for tiling, 2 hours for drywall. Like I already know that. Just let me know the price and everything you're gonna do in that price, which is what I've already told you what's gonna happen. So yeah. There's a million different ways how to do this. It's really just boils back to common sense. Like put it in writing, use your gut to like feel out people and just stay on top of them. That's honestly, that's all you can do.
Yeah, I think the follow-up's really important. Often when people find themselves in a situation that's starting to deteriorate, I think a lot of us have a natural instinct to want to avoid that pain point, right? Or avoid that displeasure. We want to just kind of ignore it and hope that it somehow magically fixes itself. But I think we both have the experience to know that once a project starts going off course, it will never just magically fix itself. It will only compound and get worse over time. So the moment we start to see a project going off course, we need to step in, right? And try and take control.
Yeah, so if you're starting off, like you do need to go at least once every week, like minimum. But when you're starting off with a new contractor, go more often. Now, because we have so many projects, I'm doing so many different things. I hired a project manager to replace me, and she goes like every 3 days. And even though we have the nice crew, like everything's awesome, she still goes every 3 days just to make sure it's on track. The contractors are expecting her. So yeah, it's a great little system. But the biggest way to whip people into shape is just go there as often as you can. When they see you come every 3 days, they're not going to piss around.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I think, this has been a great conversation about contractors. We should probably wrap up soon, but any last minute tips or suggestions that come to mind when dealing with contractors or trying to get budgets?
Yeah, just educate yourself as much as possible. Surround yourself with people who have already done a lot of renovations. Get mentorship, get one-on-one coaching so that when you do have a project, you can relay that to your coach. They're going to tell you how much it's going to cost, etc. Just going to bring the gap much, much faster. And you don't have to make all the mistakes that I made when I was like 22, 23, getting screwed over by people. You can just skip all of that. Seriously, it's super easy. Now that I know how to do it, it would be very easy for me to start doing it if I knew what to do. So surround yourself with experts, get mentors, super easy.
Yeah, I love it. Great advice, Matt. And I know I've done videos on the biggest mistakes I've made as a real estate investor, and definitely one of the biggest mistakes was hiring the wrong crew and then ignoring the problem and hoping it would just magically fix itself or go away.
That's always the worst problem. Contractors, man. I always say the biggest person on your team that's going to screw you is your contractor. It's not going to be your realtor, not your mortgage broker, not your lawyer. Contractor every time.
Well, thanks again for all the tips, Matt. If people want to follow along with you on your journey, what's the best way to do so?
Yeah, best way to find me is on YouTube. Type in the Fruitful Investor. You'll find me all over there. And second is Instagram at Mat Piche. If you want to see all the behind the scenes, all the cool stuff that I do every single day as a real estate investor and realtor.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks again to Mat Piche for taking the time to shoot this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and until next time, remember, making money is a team sport. There's more than enough money in this world for us to all make it, but if you're not saving it, what's the point? Thanks, guys.